Hi everybody and welcome to day 4 of December Daily. I'm doing things a little bit differently today. It's the morning at the moment here in the UK, and so I want to set myself up with a page, but I'm not yet sure what story I'm going to tell. But the lighting is okay, and I'm here in the house on my own, so I can do voice speak to you. And so I wanted to get some creativity done now here on camera, set myself up this foundation page with a space to hold a photo and my story, and then hopefully come back on later this evening and just finish up to either show you the finished product with the writing and the photo in it, or to just take you along on that little final bit of the journey. But what I'm working with today is just a mix of supplies. I've bought in a piece of scrap paper from my stash. This is from Rose's Studio and it is not a Christmas collection. This, I can't remember what it was called, but I'll link it in the box below. But I thought these little white daisies or flower motifs against the wood grain worked really, really nicely for a Christmas page, for a seasonal kind of wintry theme. And what I'm going to do is create a file folder to slip into my album. So the intention is that this will be roughly 6 inches square and sit in the middle of the binder. So I'm going to be working with my We Are Memory Keepers punch board for that. So this is an album punch board, but it also does bows, boxes, and you can work with it for things like file folders as well. So that's my intention. So this is 6 inches by 12 inches high, and the first thing I'm going to do is just fold this in half. It's single-sided paper, but that's okay because I'm going to put an additional liner in there that is a bit more, not necessarily Christmassy, but will bring in the palette that I'm working with in my album. I may ink the edges, I'm not sure yet. So that's just folded in half, so that should now hopefully be 6 inches squared. So for this I first need to trim off, remember it's been a while since I've done this, about 3/4 of an inch, so that we have that kind of nice offset. I'll keep that, I didn't do right to the end, how annoying. I'll keep this little scrap in case I need it for embellishment in a bit, so I always like to keep my scraps on my desk. So I have this, and then let me remember, bow, that's it. So you line it up to the, if you've got one of these, this is how you do it. Line it up to the bow guide and punch over to the 3-inch line, which is a bit difficult because you've already punched, but there we go, and punch, and then over to the, and this half is trimmed off level with that little dip. There we go. And there is that. Nice and simple. And then to get this top one to do the same, it's just a case of rotating it. So, and doing and repeat. Right, so I've done that on the top. And this is basically what it will look like. Punching holes down this side so it sits in the album there, and this will open up and reveal everything that's underneath, my photo and my story and extra embellishments. I'll have some embellishment and a number on the top. Now, because this was single-sided, I am going to bring in this really cute stripe that has that palette from Make Merry, and I'm going to have this on one piece with a view to having this as a photo. So I know it's 6 inches wide, but I am hopeful that, so it's going to be a 6x4 photo probably, or 2 3x4 photos, which will bring me to about here. So I've got this just to embellish with more of either this paper or a different pattern. But I'll worry about that in a bit, because depending on the photo, I might actually choose to print it full to fit the whole space and just cut out to make sure that however I plan my photo, I've got a bit of dead space in the bottom to cut this shape. So I may do that. So what I'm going to really be working with is this top section. I want to do it so that this is in this shape. And from how I remember with this, let me trim this down to 6 inches first. I need to remember to do it backwards, if that makes sense. So punch with the white side out. I'll show you what I mean. So bowline, punch, 3 inches, punch. This is the section that will get cut. So imagine that's not there, and that should line up now. Yes. Oh, I'm glad I remembered. And then this is the section, the corner, the edge with the proper corner is the edge to get cut. Oh, I don't think I've gone straight into that. That's annoying. I have sliced into it, but you can't see, so that's okay. This will sit on top of here, and then what I will do when I adhere it down, which I'm not going to do yet because I want to stitch onto it, I will trim off any excess on both sides that don't line up, as long as this bit lines up. And I know that I need to trim off a tiny bit here, I think, a sliver of that. For the fold, I am going to just do a tiny bit, which I probably would be better doing it with my craft knife, but I've committed now. That will go there. I am going to ink the edges, folds nicely, lovely. Oh, that looks so cute. And then, like I said, embellishment on the front and some stitching. Then this will open, the photo down here, and then I will make sure that whatever I put up here, so journal card and some embellishment, will sit below this line. Maybe just something really simple like a ribbon, word phrase sticker, something like that up here. Great. So inking my edges, I'm going to use that Distress Oxide that I've used before. Go and grab that and gather some supplies so that I can start working on this before I adhere it down. Right, I've pulled in a few things so that I've got a few ideas. On the front of here, I'm going to be going with this pink tree. I've punched out of, I might not be able to see it, but this is flocked. So again, a scrap of paper. It was a 3x4. I'd cut it into a 3x4 size. So this is a 3-inch circle. I'm going to kind of put that there, layer up some sparkly ribbon, and then stitch all that down. With this being the holding space for a number, I'm probably not going to go with that one because of the blue. So the holding space for my number and potentially a sentiment there, something like that. But I'm not going to adhere that down just yet. And then on the inside, which again is not stuck yet, I've pulled in this 3x8 journal card, which I'm going to trim down. It's got a really sweet grid pattern on the back, so it's pink, really pale pink with a white grid, and I wanted that as a, oh, I'm so sorry I hit you. I wanted that as a home for my journaling. Over here, another tree on the inside, and keeping the bulk down for this inside section because of the file folder closing. So I'm not going to add any ribbon, but I am going to take it over to the sewing machine and just stitch stuff down. Now I've also kept a tiny bit, so I've got this here if I want to, so I think I will probably work with this instead of ribbon so that it coordinates with the outside, so you've got that cohesion of pattern. from when we open. And remembering that the bottom half of the file folder I'm going to keep clear. I will trim this down. Keep clear because I'm going to put a photo there. So I'm going to fill that whole space up with a photo. If I need to, I can use a bit of this down here because I have another half of that paper, so I could use another strip of that at the bottom. But I'm going to go with this, but I'm not adhering it down. So let's just trim there. I'm running adhesive along all of it, even though it's going through my sewing machine, because the machine that I use is just for scrapbooking. I don't sew on it. Oh no. I have tacked all of this down now, and I think what I'm going to do is see if I have some flat white or pink alphas that I can put my title up here. I've made a little indent with my nail where the lowest point of the page is, so that I can see it and make sure that I keep anything that I want to be on the inside below that. So I'm going to go and get that all done first, and then I will come back and start working on this side so that I can then stitch and then adhere everything down. Okay, so really happy with this. I've got some stitching down here and up here for texture. I'm happy that I've brought a bit of stitching in, so I'm feeling quite inspired to keep going with added texture like that. You'll notice I've already got a title on here because when I was reflecting on what story I want to tell today, I remember that it is the full moon, so a great story to add into my album. And very coincidental that I have this white circle, so I think I'm going to kind of make a feature of it now. I've lightly tacked that down, and I am just going to stick down this ribbon with tape. It's not going to stick to the tape very well because the ribbon is so sparkly and textured, but that's okay because I'm going to be doing that stitching. So stick that there, trim off this end if I can, and get this also stuck down. This was only lightly tacked, so let me add a bit more. Kind of layering this, and I'm going to run my stitch all along here. Now I have this love as well, which I can kind of poke, I think, but I'm toying with the idea of bringing in so I'm bringing in aspect from the front and from the inside into the front. So I've got the circle which I want to bring in, possibly one of these labels. Let me see, because this is going to be the actual colour here. So that might be a bit too bright. What else have I got label wise? I think there'll be too much pink if I bring in the pink, but we'll have a look. Oh, I've got a light blue there. Let's see what that looks like. So I've headed over to my sewing machine. I've added this word phrase strip at the top, which I've also added some stitching to. The minute everything is loose on the ends, until I've adhered things down. I've done this here, so this is all nicely stuck down with adhesive and then stitch. And I have this silver number 4, which I'm going to kind of put in the moon somewhere here. So the next thing to do is to adhere all of this down, trim off any excess threads. I also like to stitch the ends of the stick the ends of the thread in a messy style, so I will do that most probably as well. But I'm just making sure that I've got some on the back adhered down so it's not going to show over. Here is the project ready for my journaling, which I'm going to type up and on sticker paper and stick in, or just handwrite. I have this space here for the full photo, and I've just lightly tacked this Holiday Magic, so I will make sure to add that on top of my photo. I've got holes punched, and then what I do with things like this is I punch the holes, but then I make these little slits so that when this is in the album, I can still interact with it. So the holes are there, so it's nice and snug, but that front page is still able to be interacted with, and that's what it looks like when it's sat in the album with some foundation pages behind. If I put that there, you'll be able to see more fully what it looks like in the album. Really cute, really happy with it. Like really happy with it. I love this wood grain, and I think I'm going to go through my stash and find some browns and some wood grains that I can put into my December Daily stash and bring in a little bit more of that, because it looks so cute paired with that palette. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to come back here later tonight with the finished project with the photos in, or whether I will just share that over on Instagram. I will see how long this video is first. So if you don't see me later, I will say bye for now, and thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe so that you see more of my videos in the future. Bye for now.